What's up? I'm Bee and welcome back to my living room. Today I am doing a Q&A video in celebration of my birthday. I turned 27 last week. 26 was a hellscape, so I'm ready for a new year, new age. I'm excited. Let's go ahead and get into the questions that y'all asked me on both my Instagram as well as my community tab. Oh, before we do get into that though, I do just want to say thank you so much to everybody who has clicked on my Hydro Jug affiliate link, and for those of you who have made purchases. I'm really excited for you to get your products, and if you are interested in a new water bottle, might I recommend a Hydro Jug? These are awesome. Over the past few weeks, you may have seen a lavender one that's big and looks like this. That's a Hydro Jug as well. I had the lavender one with the tie-dye sleeve on it, but I just wanted to switch it up, so this is their yellow with the leopard sleeve, obviously. It has pockets. Right now, I have my this is like a shoulder strap that you can use. I have it tucked into the pockets so it's easier to carry around my house. But then when I leave, I can pull these out and wear it kind of like a purse basically. They also have straws that bend so you can bend them down and put the lid on. And then when you are ready to take a drink, you can just pop the top off and it pops right up. If you're interested, get you one of these. It's half a gallon, and if you use the link in my description box, I make a small commission, so if you feel like supporting me and my channel in that way, that would be awesome. Now on to the Q&A. I'm going to start with the ones on my community tab first, and then we will move on to Instagram. The first one is from Melanie, and Melanie asked, when is your birthday? Are we twins? Apparently Melanie's is on the 28th. Mine is actually on the 27th, so not quite twins, but both Geminis and pretty close, just one day apart. Evie Smith asked, camping, glamping, or the classic B&B? And I have to say camping. I love camping so much. Rick and I used to go a decent amount back in the day. It's fairly inexpensive if you can like borrow camping equipment. So when we didn't have a ton of extra money to take trips or, fly anywhere to have a weekend away or do anything like that, we would just go camping and we would bring Liberty, our dog, with us. We would bring like hobo dinners and cook them over the fire. And we haven't gone in quite a while, but I still love it. I like being out in nature. I do get kind of sketched out thinking about it now though, because the place that we usually go camping is very close, like in the same woods where a man who murdered his entire family, like that's where his truck and his dog were found. So it's believed that that was like the last place he was before he disappeared. It's unknown if he is dead now, if he escaped, if he started a new life. Nobody knows what ended up happening to him, but his truck and his dog were found in the woods that we literally go camping in. So I do get a little bit scared thinking about that, and if we were to ever go camping in that same area, I would probably be sketched out the entire time, but they're beautiful woods. The drive up is gorgeous. I love going up there, and the last time we were camping, we actually saw an entire herd of elk running through, probably, gosh, like 50 feet away from our tent. They are massive and gorgeous, and so that was really cool. Life is all about pros and cons, I guess. Bridget asks, what is one of your favorite childhood memories? And I think I have shared this memory before, but it's still my favorite, so I will share it again. And if I can find a picture, I will insert it in here. Fingers crossed that I have it somewhere. But when I was turning 6, I wanted a Star Wars themed birthday party, and so everyone, mostly everybody, came dressed up as a character from Star Wars. I personally was Qui-Gon Jinn, and I remember my mom drawing facial hair on me with a little eyeliner pen, and at one point my dad came out dressed up as Darth Maul, and me and all of my friends like fought him in the backyard with our lightsabers, and he ended up going over the fence and like pretending like we got him. And that was just a really fun memory. It's very vivid for me. By the time that happened, it was a little bit toasty outside, so I'd taken off my cloak and I was just in like a yellow t-shirt, I think, or yellow tank top and shorts. But trust me, if you could see my face in that picture, all bearded up. I'm going to combine the next two questions because they're kind of similar. One is from This is the Water and This is the Well, and their question is, do you have any favorite books? What kind of music do you like? And then Vaishnavi asked, what kind of music, book, TV show, movie has been your anchor during a significant time in your life, and why did it resonate with you? What is your go-to happy/fun activity? I might be alone in this. I feel like I'm the only person who doesn't really like music. I'm sure I can't be the only person in the world, but the only person that I know, I guess I will say. I can find a direct correlation in the quality of my mental health in relation to how much music I listen to, and that is the more music I'm listening to, the worse I am doing. I'm trying to not associate music with feeling sad or being down or going through a rough time, but more often than not, whenever I am going through a rough time, that's when I choose to listen to music. I know in like the later parts of high school and college, I listened to a lot of The Cure because I was being like an angsty teen, and I was like, I'm so deep, nobody gets me. And I do still really like The Cure. After my husband and I got married, we walked out to Just Like Heaven by The Cure. Like, our processional was to that song. So The Cure, as well as Lana Del Rey. I don't really listen to her a ton anymore, but like College B was a hardcore Lana fan, and Rick actually took me to see Lana Del Rey when I was like 21, I think, and it was a great experience. She's awesome live. She is beautiful, and I think she's gotten herself into some hot water lately. People are absolutely right to be upset by the things that she's said recently, and I think that's kind of why I have a bit of a bad taste in my mouth for her at this point. But back then, I just remember her music feeling very deep to me, and of course, the themes, reoccurring theme was like sadness, and so I resonated with that, and I was like, oh, she's so sad and different and misunderstood and beautiful, and like I identified with her, except for like the fact that I was like, I wish I was as beautiful as her. Other than the beauty level, I resonated with Lana a lot. As far as music that I listen to now, I am trying to have a better association with music where I don't necessarily just use it to cope with difficult things. I use it to be happy as well. All-time favorite band probably is Paramore. I've been listening to them since junior high, so for well over 10 years, probably coming up on 15 years, which is crazy to say, but Paramore. I'm getting into Dua Lipa lately, Levitating, which I'm so original. Levitating is a good song, guys, but it's a good song. It's fun to dance to. I like it. FKA Twigs. When you listen to FKA Twigs, it's like there's so much thought into every element that you can't help but just kind of like stop for a second and like appreciate everything that's going on. So FKA Twigs for sure. Who else? Drab Majesty, new fave. Haim, liked them for a long time. Maggie Rogers, and more recently, Willow Smith. The kids really like Willow Smith. Bean, she's like a little rocker. She bangs her head to a ton of music. And so I've like put together a little playlist for her of just like really fast-paced, energetic songs, and she loves them. She'll rock out. As for TV shows, I don't watch a lot of like current shows. I get into some of them, but like 9 times out of 10, if I'm watching TV, I'm just rewatching something so I can do other things while I'm listening to the show, essentially. So, The Office, Arrested Development, Bob's Burgers, Community's pretty good. Mostly just like lighthearted sitcoms. But I do also like things that are a little bit darker. I was a big fan of Pretty Little Liars when it was on. They absolutely botched the ending, and if you are into Pretty Little Liars, I posted about this on Instagram. There's a channel run by a girl named Serena Skyburn, and she has all of these video essays about Pretty Little Liars, basically like ripping the ending to trash, as it should be, as well as like the way that different characters got done dirty and relationship dynamics, and they're all really good. So I'll link her channel in a pinned comment down below because those are awesome. And I like Ozark. Basically, I guess I just like anything with Jason Bateman in it. Then we move on to books. As many of y'all know, I am a big book lover, but I've tried to kind of narrow it down into maybe top 5, let's say. Number 1, gotta get it out of the way. This is one of the only books that I've ever reread, and it is To Kill a Mockingbird. I read it for the first time in high school, and it just stuck with me. I really loved it. I think there are so many really important lessons that are taught there, and it just has a special place in my heart. So that's probably my all-time favorite book. Second favorite book of all time, though, is Timequake by Kurt Vonnegut. Pretty much anything by Vonnegut is good, but Timequake is my top. It's my favorite. Number 3, I would say, useful knowledge that you might want to use is Wine All the Time by Marissa. What's her last name? Marissa A. Ross. It's The Casual Guide to Confident Drinking. And I just think it has a lot of cool knowledge in it. So if you like wine, but you don't know a ton about it and you're wanting to learn more, that's a really good book. Next, I would have to say, this is number 4. Shoot. I thought I'd gotten this down more. Next, I'm going to say Blitzed by Norman Ohler. It basically goes into Adolf Hitler's drug addiction and the shocking, hypocritical way that he lived and how he kept soldiers, like, amped up and fighting for him, as well as how he became dependent on different substances. Number 5, I'm going to say... Okay, I lied. I'm going to say 2 more. A more lighthearted one would be Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Reading that, I just kind of felt an overwhelming sense of like comfort and nostalgia for her life and just the way that she described some of her experiences, and something really valuable that I gained from that book, which I have talked about before, is the fact that you get to decide what your currency is and like what your value is to the world. Especially in America, there is a ton of focus on outward physical beauty, and she talks about how she, was told one time that she has a perfect face for wigs, and she's like, what an incredible compliment is that? My face can go with anything because it blends in. It's not distinct. I'm just an average looking person, and my looks are not my currency. I get to decide what value I bring. And that's always really just stuck with me because I think that that's a beautiful sentiment. Next book I'm going to say, if you want to have like your heart ripped out of your chest, is called The Spirit Catches You and You Fall Down by Anne Fadiman. It's about a family of Hmong immigrants, and they immigrated to California, and they have a daughter who has a medical condition. And so it just kind of talks about the clash between their traditional beliefs and what their explanation is behind all of these issues that are happening with their daughter versus what doctors are telling them is wrong, and how there's these just communication gaps and different experiences where the family isn't necessarily trusting of the doctors, and the doctors think that the parents are being irresponsible, but it's because there's a language barrier and a cultural barrier. And I think it definitely highlights the need for interpreters in the medical field. It highlights the need for a lot of different resources when it comes to people immigrating to the United States, but especially in medical situations. There needs to be somebody there who is culturally competent in whatever culture the consumer is, who doesn't speak English, as well as American culture, and who can be able to mediate those differences. Again, it's a really beautiful, complex book, and it did break my heart. I cried more than once reading it. So if you're in the mood to like have your heart cracked open, read The Spirit Catches You and You Fall Down. Finally, I will also say that I'm hesitant to say this answer because I don't know how comfortable I feel sharing my maiden name, but my dad did write 2 books and I got to help edit them as he was writing them, and they're really good. So those are 2 of my favorite books, but I'm like, y'all are great, but what if one day somebody comes along who just really hates me and decides that they want to like harass my family? Because that's definitely happened to other YouTubers. So I think I'm going to keep it close to the vest for right now. But just know, my dad wrote 2 books. They're on Amazon. They're really good. Anna Marie said, I'm slightly new to your channel, so you may have answered this already. Where did you grow up and where do you live now? For the first part of my childhood, I lived about 30 minutes outside of Chicago, Illinois, and then when I was about 9, my family ended up moving to Arizona, and I still live there now. So I live in Phoenix, and I love living in Arizona. I think it's a beautiful state. It's super close to California and Las Vegas, so quick, easy vacations can be taken there, and the views are just gorgeous because we are surrounded by mountains. Shannon McDivine, or McDivine, I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong, asked, what made you decide to do a commentary channel? I love your kind honesty. Happy birthday. First of all, thank you. And how I decided to get into commentary. I've just been kind of looking for a hobby for a long time. I graduated college and tried to work in my field of study for about a year until I realized that it wasn't going to happen the way that I wanted it to happen. And if I wanted any sort of financial stability, I needed to move into a different industry. And so I took jobs in fields that I was not passionate about and did not care about, and was miserable at those jobs. So I was like, I just need something else to do. I need an outlet of some sort. And at the time, I had been watching a lot of YouTube, and I had so many different opinions on different things that were going on, and I really did enjoy different commentary and drama channels, but I felt like they had the tendency to be kind of mean or be kind of petty. And so there's nothing wrong with pettiness or using clickbait to get people to click on your channel and watch your videos, but I felt like maybe I could add a little bit of like humanity back into those topics. It's like, yeah, these things are happening. Yeah, people are mad, but can we see a way that we can help them improve or help them do better in the future or prevent other people from making those same mistakes? You know, I wanted to kind of back away from this person did this, they're awful, they're the worst, let's like drag them to filth and never let them come back from it. And so that might be a little bit hyperbolic, but that was the feeling that I had when it came to a lot of YouTube drama. I know I'm not the only person who does this. I'm not the only commentary channel that talks about things going on and is coming from a place of understanding or human perspective. Plenty of other people do it, but I just felt like I could add to the community in that way, and so that's why I started doing commentary. I'm sure y'all have noticed as well, though, I've kind of stepped away from YouTube commentary and am focusing a little bit more on like personal development and religion, which is something I am incredibly passionate about. One, I just don't have time to keep up with all the YouTube drama, and 2, I think for a long time I was scared to put more focus on religion because I've been very lucky in the fact that my comment sections are usually very nice to me, like very kind and supportive of me, but without fail, every time I post a religious video, there are people who do not like it and people who disagree. And while I haven't necessarily gotten anything super hateful, there have definitely been some comments that are more on the mean or negative side, and I don't like reading that, obviously. I mean, who does? And so I avoided talking about religion too much so I wouldn't have to see those comments as often. But the more religion and faith-based videos that I post on my channel, the more I realize it does good for people, the more I realize there are people who have been severely hurt, which I always knew. But hearing your stories, it's like talking about religion in a way that's not judgmental and in a way that is open and accepting has been healing for some of you guys. And just seeing comments of people being like, I'm gay and you're the first Christian I've ever heard talk about like gay people or talk about this topic or that topic, who made me feel like I have a place and I'm not like the worst person in the entire world. I wish I knew more Christians like you when I was being forced to go to church. Like seeing comments like that, it's like, okay, this is an important thing. Talking about this means something to people. And so I'm definitely leaning a little bit more towards into that. And I don't know where it's going to end up going, but a lot of people are deconstructing right now. And I think they need a safe place to do that. So if I can play some small role in that, that would be really cool. Next is from Sarah Jane. Sarah said, "Hey B, happy almost birthday. Thank you. If you could be any animal, what would you be and why?" I'd be some kind of bird, as I've always dreamed of flying. And I thought about this question for a really long time, and I just could not come up with an answer. I just couldn't. Like, there's no animal that I'm like, man, that would be cool to be that animal in particular. But I do like what you said about being a bird so you can fly. Birds really terrify me. Like, I'm not scared of a lot of things. I'm very scared of birds, but I do think being able to fly would be cool, so I'm going to go with a bird too. I'm just going to copy you on that one. Moving on, we have some questions about the kids. The first one is from Rachel. Rachel asked, "How are the kiddos doing? Would you ever do a P.O. box? I'd love to send them some books." It is so sweet of you to think about sending the kids something, and if I ever decide to open one, obviously I will let everyone know. As far as how they are doing, they're doing well. We definitely have our ups and downs, and I'll get into it with the next few questions, but overall, they're doing as well as you could expect. This next one is from Kelly, who asked, "Do you still feel the same about fostering after realizing how it really is? Will you adopt these kids? Whatever you feel comfortable telling. I'm not sure if it's okay to discuss this or not. I'm just curious. I'm always worried about foster kids." I cannot talk about what their future or what their long-term plans look like, as those are still in the works. That's still being decided. But I will say that I've always had just massive respect for anybody who decides to foster, for anyone who opens up their home for the right reason to kids that just need a safe place to land and a loving family to take care of them for a little bit of time or a long time. And that has definitely increased. The kids were in foster care for about 10 months before we ended up getting approved to take them. Speaking with their foster mom and their foster family, it's definitely given me some insight into what foster families go through. I think that I have a different perspective because these kids are part of my family, and so if they end up going back to biological mom or dad, like, I will still know where they are. I'll still be able to see them potentially on holidays if they want, if their parents want to come to Arizona or we go visit them. Like, I will know how they are doing and where they are because they are my family. Foster families don't have that. They spend 10 months with 2 kids and, love them through some of their biggest milestones as young children. And they get close to them and their kids get close to them. And then one day they're just gone. And so I feel very, very blessed that the kids were with the family that they were with, because the foster mom that they were with and I have actually developed a bit of a relationship where she had asked, is it okay if I text you every now and then, or if we send Beans a package for her birthday, which they did, will you send pictures every now and then if you have some time? And so it's been really eye-opening, I think, to see this from her perspective, where she's expressed, we love them so much and we'll always love them. They were part of our family, but it's good to know that they're going to be with family now, that they're going to be with you guys, that you guys are going to take care of them, and that we, have this continued relationship, because it is hard. when they just leave and we have nothing. And so, like I said, massive respect to foster families. I will say, though, that my views on the foster care system have changed for the worse. This isn't true for everybody, obviously, but from my experience, seeing that there are certain people who work in the system who are supposed to look out for these kids and supposed to take care of them and do what's best for them, seeing them not do that, seeing them do like potentially what's best for the state or what costs them less money, there are problems. There are issues with the foster care system, and again, I know that caseworkers see it like just the worst of the worst when it comes to things that children go through, and they are overworked and overwhelmed, and there has been a massive increase in their cases because of the pandemic. So I absolutely have empathy for them, but we need to work on something. Like, a change needs to happen where the caseworkers can just focus on what's best for the kids and how to serve them best instead of like all this extra bureaucratic stuff. And they need to get paid more and they need to not be overworked. My feelings towards that have absolutely gotten stronger now that I have firsthand experience in it. So that's it for the questions on my community tab. I'm going to move on to some of the Instagram ones, and I think I'll just pick a few to answer because I've been talking for a real long time, and I don't want to like bore you guys. This first one is from, and it's favorite thing about being a mama. I would say seeing small changes. So, obviously these kids have been through a lot. They've been through a lot of disruptions and changing of caretakers and all that, but just seeing like small progress makes me so happy for them and proud for them. And just like an example, Beans, God love her, she is not a sleeper. I don't know what it is, but when she first got here, she like absolutely hated her crib. No idea why. I'm not sure if maybe she was sleeping in like a smaller crib or they had like bumpers to make it feel more secure. I don't know if it was just it's a new bed or a new environment. No idea. But she absolutely hated her crib. She would cry for hours at bedtime before falling asleep, and then she would fall asleep for 1, 2, 3 hours if you were lucky, and then she would wake up and she would scream and she would cry again. She wouldn't even sleep in the crib very well, even if you were like laying on the ground or sitting in the chair next to her. It wasn't gonna happen. And she has gotten better about going down at this point, but if she wakes up in the middle of the night, it's still a rough one. But the other day I saw her on the camera wake up, look around, grab her blanket, and just lay back down and go back to sleep. And I literally, watching it, I cried because I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy for her. And I'm happy for me that I don't have to get up and go do this, like go take care of it, and that Rick doesn't have to either. But just seeing her wake up and look around, realize that she's okay, and go back to sleep. I was just so happy and so proud of her. And so something as small as that, something as small as her being able to comfort herself and go back to bed is massive for me, and I'm really proud of her. And so seeing those small things, those small changes, small improvements are what I have held on to. They're like everything to me. And finally, the last question I'm going to answer is from who asked, do you watch any social strategy-based reality TV shows, Big Brother, Survivor, etc.? Would you ever consider applying to be on one of these shows? The only one I've ever watched has been The Circle, and I am obsessed with... Oh, no, I watched Love is Blind, too, but obviously I would not go on that show because I'm married. But The Circle, I love The Circle. I'm obsessed with it. I would absolutely consider applying to be on that show. I think that that is such a fun show to watch, and like seeing people, how they act, how their inner dialogue when they are alone is really fascinating to me, and I think that I would be good at it. But having answered that, I'm gonna go ahead and close this video out. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in questions and wished me a happy birthday. I loved answering these for y'all, and I want to kind of tell you to be on the lookout for my next few videos, because I think we're gonna have a series. I've definitely done different 2-part videos before where I just ended up talking for way too long, and so I had to end up splitting them up in order to make them palatable. But I've been going through To Train Up a Child by Michael and Debbie Pearl, and I think we're just gonna have to go through it chapter by chapter, because like I said, I'm not buying this book. I'm not giving them money, but one of you sent me an archived version of it, and so it's not like if I buy it on Kindle where I can make notes about it in the side and I can highlight stuff. It's like I'm trying to copy different parts that I want to talk about, and in every section I've read so far, there's multiple things that I want to talk about. So I'm like, this is just so heinous. We gotta go through it. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be upsetting, but I think it's important to talk about. So that's what we're gonna get into. Thank you guys preemptively for being along for the ride. Let me know in the comments down below if there are any other topics that you want me to make videos about or reactions that you want to see. And while you're doing that, if you would consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. And if you are subscribed already, thank you so much. I am so appreciative of you, and I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.